Thank you for being here. I'm Deanna Rodriguez, President and CEO of Entergy New Orleans, and we're here today to talk to you about three things. How important it is to invest in infrastructure and harden our grid, what we are doing to make our system more reliable, and then Stephen Binyard is going to talk about our third thing. He's going to share more information, more technical information on recent outages and explain to you how different they were and how important it is that you understand what we're doing to improve our system. Since the grid was designed about 70 years ago, we've seen tremendous change across the board. We've seen tremendous change in consumption. We've seen tremendous change in the types of storms we're seeing, radically different storms, and it has had a cumulative effect on our system. So the fact that we have an aging grid and that it was designed over 70 years ago, we have seen a 130% increase in lightning strikes just this year affecting that aging infrastructure. With incidents like last night, what we've seen is, perhaps it's not raining right now, but if there was a storm even a few days ago, you will have seen an impact on infrastructure that has to be addressed, and we are planning to do so. So our crews are working constantly to do this, and with the investment we've made so far, our reliability has improved by 27% between 2019 and 2023. I know that any outage to anyone is never a good thing. So it is, and if you're one of the few people or any person who's had to experience an outage, especially in this heat, it makes it more difficult. But rest assured, we live here too. We are working through all of this. We continue to invest in what we know is important to every customer that we have, and we're always working to do better. And with that, I'm going to have Stephen talk to you a little bit about the technical aspects of the outages that have occurred recently. Even though they've all been different, we would like to explain to you what has actually occurred.
Thank you, Deanna, and thank you for coming to share some time with us today. In order to protect our customers, we do install devices on our system called lightning arresters. In New Orleans, we have over 30,000 lightning arresters on our system. In our substations, right behind us, you can see some of our substation arresters. The recent outages we had yesterday were our substation arresters activating. Once activated, you'll see that some may totally have a bigger failure. Some you may not even know. Most of the time when these things do fail, you may see a blink, you may see nothing, and the system goes on, protects itself, and customers are saved from a larger, more catastrophic outage because these arresters not only protect against lightning, but they protect against surges. So the whole goal of these systems are to ensure that we have shorter duration outages as well as less catastrophic, less costly outages. So a lightning arrestor may cost a few $1,000s when the damage they save our system from could be millions of dollars. So I can pause here and take a few questions if you like about arresters and how they affect the systems, and I'll give you a little more information, more technical information if you like.
Gina, so these arresters, how exactly are they installed? I mean, kind of go into detail about that.
So how our arrestor is installed, it's installed on the power line on there, and then when we have a power line, we call them 3 phases. Each is A, B, and C phase. So each power line that goes on a specific feeder or trunk that goes into the neighborhoods have 3 phases. In the substation, where they come off, these are where the specific station arresters are that behind me are installed, and they're installed between that power line phase to the ground. So what it does is it takes arrests that surge from either lightning or a surge on the line, some sort of fault on the line, and it takes that surge that passes through the lightning arrestor. It stops that surge, or if it's in a surge that's such a big surge or a large surge, it actually break apart and when it activates, so that it disconnects that electrical surge and arrests it and takes it to the ground, where instead of going to other systems, instead of going into your home, it stops that damage from cascading throughout the system.
How do you replace them once they are damaged like that?
Once they're damaged, usually they're disconnected to disconnect themselves. We remove load from that substation for these particular type of arresters. And then we have a person go in and take the tap off the power line, the main line, but also the tap between the ground to our system neutral.
So, quick question. So, you said 30,000 arresters in Orleans Parish. Is there an idea of how many of those need to be replaced, and what clip you guys are replacing them at? And then I have a quick follow-up.
Great question. So I said 30,000 arresters across our system on the lines of the substations
Is that Orleans Parish?
in Orleans Parish. As far as the ones we replaced 24 so far of these specific station arresters that we identified that are coming to a time where they need to be replaced. And what's the other part of your question?
What's the rate at which you guys are able to replace these?
So there's two things.
But there's 700, right? 711, and then of those types of arresters.
So of the arresters identified, we only have a few hundred that need to be replaced that are this specific type, this specific vintage. We actually have another type that we identified as having that are starting to fail now or starting to activate now. And as soon as we're done with that inspection, I'm assuming maybe another 50 or so we'd have to go out and replace as well.
Okay, so those the 700 are both the substation arresters and the other types of arresters that
We're as far as the ones that we're going after specifically right now are substation arresters.
Okay, and then my follow-up question: is it fair to say these are just because the terminology isn't really that known?
Right.
Is it fair to compare these to surge protectors?
That's a great comparison. They're like surge protectors for our electrical infrastructure. That's correct.
How are you all monitoring the damage? I mean, are we seeing crews going out and looking at them every day, or how do we know which ones need replacing?
In order to understand which ones we need replacing, we track trends. So we take down the ones that have failed, when they were manufactured, what manufacturer, what vintage, and those are the ones that we're actually going out and inspecting monthly and identifying and keeping a running list of the ones that we need to replace on the system.
Yes, do you know what caused these things to activate last night? Also, what kind of things can activate them, like tree branches or anything that hit them can activate them?
That's a great question. What activates these are, for example, they get beat up all the time with our weather. Last week we had a huge thunderstorm come through, roll through our system. So they took a lot of hits to the lightning arresters. But also, if you have a tree branch that causes a fault on a line, if you have someone hit a pole, if you have any kind of fault on a line, the lightning arrestor sees that surge of energy, and depending on the tolerance, that's when they activate.
Do we know what happened last night? Exactly, I know there's a few different things that can happen. Do we know what happened last night?
Last night, there had to be a fault that occurred that the lightning arresters saw at those two different stations, and they activated. But in these cases, since they've been on the system so long, and just the particular manufacturer vintage, when they activated, they activated in a way where our system, relay system, where our protective system, like the breaker, saw that, and it opened up because how they failed.
You guys are talking about resiliency. What does that look like for you guys? What does investing in resiliency look like?
It's more of a comprehensive look. So what we're doing is keeping the lights on every day. And I think Stephen mentioned that what happened last night is that the product, while it failed, worked. And so it caused a shorter outage than would have occurred. Part of what we've suggested in resilience is there are 91 projects around the entire city that will make it smarter. So some of it may be using artificial intelligence. Some of it will be smaller numbers of people affected so that you're not touching 10,000 people, but something like that would have affected a few hundred people. So that's what a more resilient grid would do.
And I have to ask you, last night, the areas where these outages happened, one around the fairgrounds, one in Trinity, one in Gentilly, seemed very sporadic, but people are asking, like, is a rolling blackout going on? Can you address that?
Definitely not a rolling blackout going on. These have to actually be pre-identified arresters we're going to change out. But due to the heat, we have to wait in order to shift load off of those substations to proactively go and replace those arresters to a newer style, which we actually have here on display.
And I have to ask you a different question. I know you said you're changing some are already faulty. We have a huge event in the Super Bowl. A lot of people have concerns around the Super Bowl with the power outages. I mean, how are you ensuring that this system is prepared to handle an event like that?
Oh, we've been working on Super Bowl for years up to the Super Bowl day. We've replaced all the arresters, breakers, and different systems that affect the Superdome specifically and all the key areas tied to the Super Bowl. So we're ready to go.
Just want to make sure we have this right. 30,000 arresters across New Orleans. You've identified more than 700 that need to be replaced.
No, we have 700 in our stations, our substations, and we've identified 138 that need to replace.
And so far, you've replaced around 2040.
That's correct. Yeah, remember, these are like the sacrificial things we have on our system to protect for larger catastrophic damages.
I think Steven's ready to show you some of the show and tell here, so I'll turn it over to you
All
to
right.
make sure you use your gloves.
Thank you, Deanna. All right, so show and tell.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, so as far as last night, here's the lightning, one of the lightning arresters that did activate. As you can see, a lot cheaper item to activate instead of damaging something, a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment. That's what it's for. That's if you have a shorter duration outage. We go check the line, make sure everything's working, then turn it back on. Once we find this, we replace it with the newer version. Here's the more modern version of a lightning arrestor. As you can see, it has a lot more weather resistance to it. Polymer arresters, a lot of different styles, but these are what we're putting up today once we have to go and replace a lightning arrestor in our station. Across the country, lightning arresters are used to protect against surges on all utility systems. So it's very common. We have them on our transformers, we have it in our substations, we have it on our a lot of our equipment to be that sacrificial piece of equipment to stop, larger damages, as I mentioned.
Does this one in your hand, is this like a better quality one than the one you see up there where it's like kind of more spaced out?
This is just more new age. This is after years of research, the manufacturers have put more ripples to effectively be more weather resistant and things like that. So new technology.
So approximately how old is something like that?
That one I don't have the date on it, but they could be up. They typically last a lifetime as long as they don't have a lot of damage when it comes to faults and surges.
And how much of a difference is it going to make using the newer model compared to
The newer models are learned from all the mistakes of the past, new technologies, how to seal these things. So the manufacturer's getting better and better. So these type of surge arresters can take a lot more of a beating
And I have to
from the
ask,
elements.
30,000 across the city, 700 in substations, 138 identified, 2 replaced. What does the price tag look like to replace the ones that you already identified that need to be replaced?
Each arrestor is a few $1,000s.
One more, anybody? Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wizard. Everybody good?